Hello, I'm an industrial diesel mechanic here today. I'm going to cover hot work. Hot work is anything with a spark, open flame, or heat that can cause a fire. Hot work practices are required by most companies because of insurance. And since they ain't two of the largest warehouse fires were caused by failure to have at work procedures, one was Queen City Barrel, and the other was Grace Industry, which was a chemical plant, along with BASF plant. First, I will start off with the safety hazard. You have to be very precautious when working with hot work. You have to know your surroundings like the back of your head, pretty much. Make sure that there are no flammable fluids or oils on you, the ground, or whatever you're cutting or welding. Most important, there's PPE, personal protective equipment. You must think about your safety and your fellow workers' safety as most important. You should have steel-toe boots, safety glasses, and a uniform at all times. And when welding, you should have a welding helmet to protect your eyes and any burns to the body to the use of welders. You have to make sure the MIG welder, which is right here, / stick welder, is set to the right voltage, ampage, and plugged up correctly before use, depending on the type and size of the metal. You also must know the difference in the cutting torch tank. This one's oxygen, this one's acetylene. You can tell the difference by reading the tags, okay, on the sides or on the front. You have to make sure that the tank pressure gauges, which are these, are right along with the gate valve. You have to make sure that on acetylene, it's turned to a 1/4 inch, it's barely turned, and that your oxygen is doing 4 quarters. You have to make sure that these are set right, so that way if there's a fire, you can shut it off immediately. That way you don't cause any blow-ups on both tanks. Right here you got your cutting torch, you got the nozzles to set it up, and you got a striker. You got to be very safe while doing this. You got to have your acetylene on, set it right here like this, spark it, make sure you got the flame going. Once you got the acetylene burning, you turn the oxygen on, get the flame going, get real hot. Then when you're cutting something, you heat it up, you hit this button right here, releases the oxygen, making it cut through the metal. Now I'm going to cover the MIG TIG welder. I'm going to start off with the PPE of welding or anything with hot work. We got our light gloves for our grinder, we got our heavy gloves for welding, we got our cutting shield for a cutting torch, we got our welding helmet for a MIG TIG stick welder, we got welding caps to protect your hair, we got welding sticks, we got our welding jacket, our cutting jacket, we got earmuffs used for grinding, anything loud, more earmuffs to protect you from anything that will disable your hearing. We got our grinder right here, and we got our hammer for when we're doing brazing. We got our rosebud, used to get things really hot when using a cutting torch or anything. We got our cutting torch head, used to cut stuff. And we got a brazing tip, which is used to braze stuff down with a brazing stick right here. These are used to pick up anything that's hot so you don't burn your hands, burn anything on you. We got our wire brush, scrape anything off like oil, paint, fuel, any type of fumes that can cause fire or any type of fire. And we got our strikers. I'm going to start off with the cutting torch. Alright, stop it. TIG welder, you got your ground right here. You got to make sure when you're cutting something, you got this plugged up so it'll make the spark of the weld. You got a welding handle with the copper wire coming out. That's used to weld the beads together. Make sure that when you're using this, you're using it right and correctly. Make sure you don't have too much copper coming out and you're not putting it right on the metal directly, so that way you won't clog this up. And now we got, alright, right here we got little grinders. This is used to take off any shavings on here, make it nice and smooth. Used so that way when you weld, you ain't gonna catch any fires, all the metal's off, all the galvanized steel, any stainless steel is off, any paint, oil, fuel, anything like that that can cause an open flame or fire. And these are pretty much used to take off rust also. As you can see, this is all rusted up and knotted up from the welds. If you're going to want to re-weld this, you're going to have to re-grind down all those welds, all the rust, make sure it's real smooth, take a wire brush to it, then you'll be set to do that. Most importantly, with hot work, you got to make sure you have your PPE on, otherwise anything bad can happen. You got to be prepared for the worst, and anybody else can have anything bad happen. So that pretty much covers it on hot work. Thank you.